Why people hate you for no reason. You have felt this. Someone who barely knows you dislikes you. Someone who has never spoken to you already decided you are the problem. Someone who received nothing but kindness from you treats you like an enemy. And you keep asking yourself, what did I do wrong? Here is the truth ancient philosophy discovered over 2,000 years ago. Sometimes you did absolutely nothing wrong. Sometimes the hate has nothing to do with you at all. And understanding exactly why will change how you see people and how you carry yourself forever. Stay with me. Reason one, you remind them of what they are not. This is the deepest reason and the most painful one to hear. When someone hates you for no reason, very often what they are feeling is not hatred. It is shame. The shame of their own unlived life staring back at them through your existence. Every person carries inside them a vision of who they wanted to become. And most people, for 1,000 different reasons, never fully get there. They compromise, they settle, they stop trying, and they make an uneasy peace with that gap. You, simply by being who you are, can shatter that peace without saying a single word. If you are disciplined and they gave up on discipline, your consistency is a silent accusation. If you are kind and they harden their heart, your warmth reminds them of what they lost. If you are growing and they stop, your progress is a mirror they cannot look away from. Aristotle called this thonos, destructive envy. He wrote that this pain is felt specifically toward people similar to us, not strangers, but people who remind us of what we ourselves could have been. Your existence reminds them of the road they did not take, and rather than face that pain, they redirect it at you. Reason two, your confidence unsettles them. Some people carry a particular kind of energy, not arrogance, not loudness, just ease, a quiet confidence, a comfort in their own skin, a way of existing without constantly seeking approval. And this energy disturbs certain people deeply because they have never felt it themselves. They spend their entire lives performing, calculating how they are perceived, adjusting themselves constantly to manage others' opinions. And then they encounter someone who simply is, not performing, not calculating, just existing fully and comfortably without apology. And it produces in them a feeling they cannot name or tolerate. Plato described people who have found their inner equilibrium as naturally unsettling to those who have not because they do anything provocative, but because their peace exposes others' restlessness. You are not doing anything wrong. Your calm is just too loud for their chaos. Reason three, they are projecting their own darkness. This one comes straight from Stoic philosophy. Epictetus, born a slave, became one of the wisest men in history, taught something extraordinary. He said, the way people treat you is a direct reflection of their internal world, not yours. When someone hates you without cause, they are not seeing you clearly. They are projecting onto you, placing on your face the qualities they fear and despise in themselves. The person who calls you arrogant is often deeply insecure. The person who calls you fake is often performing constantly themselves. The person who calls you dangerous is often afraid of their own impulses. They see in you what they cannot admit in themselves. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his private journal, when you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest. But I have seen the beauty of good and the ugliness of evil, and I know that the wrongdoer has a nature related to my own. They are not your enemy. They are a person in pain, aiming that pain in your direction. Reason four, you threaten the group. Aristotle said humans are social animals. We form groups, families, friend circles, workplaces, communities, and every group has an unspoken set of rules, unwritten codes about how members should think, speak, behave, and how much they should achieve. When you break those codes, even unintentionally, the group turns on you. Not because you did something wrong, but because your difference threatens the group's identity. You work harder than everyone else. Suddenly, you are showing them up. You think differently than the group. Suddenly, you are arrogant. You refuse to participate in gossip. Suddenly, you are suspicious. You grow beyond where the group is comfortable. Suddenly, you are a traitor. Plato described this perfectly in the allegory of the cave. The prisoner who escapes and sees the sunlight does not come back as a threat. He comes back as a gift with truth and knowledge. But the other prisoners try to kill him because his freedom reminds them of their chains. If a group hates you for simply being yourself, you have not found the wrong version of yourself. You have outgrown that group. Reason five, your goodness makes their compromise uncomfortable. This reason is the one that hurts most. Sometimes people hate you not despite your goodness, but because of it. Socrates is the perfect example. He was the most morally serious man in Athens. He asked questions not to humiliate people, but to help them think more clearly and live more honestly. And the people of Athens voted to execute him. Why? Because his moral seriousness highlighted their moral compromise. His honesty exposed their dishonesty. His pursuit of truth made their comfortable lies impossible to maintain. He did not attack anyone. He simply lived with integrity. And integrity, real, consistent, unperforming integrity, is one of the most threatening things a person can possess. Seneca wrote, the more honesty a man has, the less he affects the air of a saint. If your genuine goodness is making certain people uncomfortable, do not shrink it. That discomfort is not your problem to solve. It is their mirror mirror to face. Reason 6, they fear what they cannot control. Some people need to feel they can predict and control everyone around them. They understand manipulators because they are manipulators. They understand people pleasers because they know how to use them. They understand followers because they know how to lead them. But you do not fit their category. You are kind but not weak, quiet but not submissive, confident but not aggressive, independent but not cold. They cannot figure out how to handle you, cannot predict your reactions, cannot find the lever that moves you. And what humans cannot control, they fear. And what they fear, they attack. Epictetus understood this deeply. He wrote that truly free people, people whose inner life cannot be touched by external forces, are fundamentally incomprehensible to those who have never experienced inner freedom. Your freedom frightens them, not because you use it against them, but because it reminds them they have never found their own. Reason 7, hatred is easier than self-examination. Here is perhaps the most honest reason of all. Self-examination is hard. Looking honestly at yourself, your failures, your fears, your compromises, your unlived potential is one of the most difficult things a human being can do. Socrates built his entire philosophy around it. Know thyself, the inscription at the Temple of Delphi, was his life's work and his life's demand. Most people never do it. It is far easier to look outward than inward, far easier to find a target for your frustration than to sit with the uncomfortable truth of your own life. And you, simply by existing, can become that target, not because of anything specific you did, but because you are there, visible, real, easy to blame. The Stoics had a name for this pattern: externalization, the human habit of placing the source of all pain outside the self rather than examining the self honestly. When someone hates you for no reason, 9 times out of 10 they are externalizing. You are carrying a weight that belongs entirely to them. Put it down. It was never yours to carry. The lesson: what ancient philosophy tells you to do so? After all of this, what do? Do you fight back? Explain yourself? Try harder to make them like you? The ancient philosophers gave one unified answer. No, Marcus Aurelius wrote, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Epictetus said, if you are ever tempted to look for outside approval, realize that you have compromised your integrity. Seneca taught, ignore the hatred of those whose approval you would never seek anyway. And Socrates demonstrated, with his life and his death, that a person of genuine character does not shrink under the weight of unjust hatred. They simply continue. You cannot control who hates you. You cannot explain yourself into their approval. You cannot shrink yourself small enough to escape their discomfort, but you can control this. How much space you give their hatred inside your mind. Give it none. Not because you are above feeling hurt, but because their hatred belongs to them. And you have better things to do with your energy than carry it. People hated Socrates. People hated Marcus Aurelius. People hated Epictetus. And history remembers every single one of them as giants. It does not remember their haters at all. 7 reasons people hate you for no reason. 1, you remind them of what they are not. 2, your confidence unsettles them. 3, they are projecting their own darkness. 4, you threaten the group. 5, your goodness makes their compromise uncomfortable. 6, they fear what they cannot control. 7, hatred is easier than self-examination. Now you know. Drop in the comments which reason hit you the hardest. I read every single one.